All right, we're fucking set.
Cool.
That's it.
That's it.
Done and done.
We're done.
Fucking chilling and hanging out.
Hell yeah.
Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it.
Thanks for finally having me. We've been trying to do this forever.
It has been a fucking minute.
Yeah.
I think, the last time we saw each other was at NAMM.
Right.
So that was cool. Obviously with both of our schedules being very busy.
Yeah.
But first off, want to start out, new Husbandry track.
Oh, yeah.
How's that going?
It's great. I think people are really digging it. We've been working on it for a long time. We put our last record, A Port in a Storm, out in 2019.
Cool.
Which was sick. It was right before the pandemic happened.
I
mean, much like everyone else.
The dark times that happened, I will say that for a lot of bands, it did help. You know,
for sure.
Certain bands
it kind of like said it. We're not the biggest band in the world. We're not like jet setting like you guys are in Fit or whatever. But it's we took some time. We had a new drummer, this guy Emmett Seglia.
Cool.
Joined our bands, and it kind of just like in the middle of me and the bass player are now writing a ton of songs. Like it kind of just like rejuvenated everything.
That's awesome.
Which was sick. So Drop by Drop, the song we dropped last Friday, was the first song I wrote kind of like almost like a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Oh wow.
It like took that long like percolate and try to get us all to figure out the sound of what we're trying to do. Which is more songwriter oriented.
Been a long time coming then.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Like, the fact that, you weren't one of the bands that, that COVID took from us. Because there was a lot of bands that,
For sure. Yeah.
That time they were like, you know what? I like sleeping in my bed.
Yeah, I bet.
I like not touring and having to do that. But
I think that's maybe a good part of like the way we work, which is like do it when we can, like quality over quantity. Because we were like, why not still do the band? Like,
yes,
I have all these ideas and songs I want to get out, these riffs.
Yeah,
just keep stockpiling them, and when the time comes, you could release them.
Yes, and cool. the cool part about that, the cool part about what you guys are doing in that approach is that like you're not dying from stress.
Yeah.
There's so many bands that are like, I have to, I want to be the next Metallica, so I'm going to stress myself out until I eventually just, fail because unfortunately that's just how it is.
Yeah. I think I'll bring up my boy John Markson, who produced the track.
Yeah.
We were recording and we were talking about why some bands, even if they're working so hard, achieve success, or if they don't. And he was like, man, if you're always like fucking holding on to like the neck of like what you're trying to do and pushing so hard, it becomes like forced and like you're not gonna have fun. And everyone could see it from the outside. You're trying so hard, but when you relax and start to like just do your thing, just make your art.
Yes,
good things will come. Knock on wood.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to see bands that, I mean, okay, so for example, a couple buddies of mine play in a band called From the Pawn.
Mm-hmm.
Now, From the Pawn was around, mid early 2000s.
I think I remember that name. Everywhere. Like
they were all over the place on Long Island. And obviously everybody grew up, everybody got regular jobs, everybody, started growing families and getting married and having kids and all that stuff. And, they just played their first show in years. And it's kind of cool because now they don't feel that pressure anymore because they're just like, I'm doing this for fun. We're going to play the occasional show, put out some music with my friends, hang out, and enjoy it.
Yeah.
And back in the day, I didn't understand that. I would look at people when I was in my 20s. I'd look at people and be like, why restart a band when you're 40? And now that I'm getting closer to 40, I'm like, oh, it's fun. Yeah. It's fun.
It's fun. Yeah.
There's no stress.
There's no stress.
That's why you're doing it. You know?
And it becomes funny too. You could probably even think like all these bands that have resurfaced in the last couple of years, like, but they've had, this is probably going to segue into something else, but like your catalog's been on streaming for like the last 10 years and you haven't played a show in 15 years.
Yeah.
Your audience has been growing while you've been lying dormant. So like,
yes.
Who's the Long Island band that just played with Poison the Well?
I don't remember.
Sorry, we're gonna get killed already.
I have, but I see that
a coworker of mine. His friend is the singer, and he was like, "Sold more T-shirts than I've ever sold in the entire accumulated career of my band at that
Yeah.
one show because like we got this amazing opportunity. We want to come back and play shows for fun.
Yep.
This is fucking lit.
Yeah.
Cool. And so I'm happy to see all these bands like get that opportunity now.
I mean, we are playing Saturday the 16th of March. It's 2.5 weeks away.
Mm-hmm.
We're playing with Shadows Fall,
Nice.
who same thing. They laid dormant for 5, 6, 7, 8 years,
Yeah.
if not a little bit longer than that. And they decided, hey, we're gonna start playing shows again. And it's more so because certain bands would come back and they do a couple shows, have a little heat behind them, and it's fun. You get together with your friends, play a couple gigs, make a little bit of cash, and then you go back to your families and you get to sleep in your bed every night.
Yeah.
It's
Sounds
awesome.
Yeah.
Like I would love to get to a point where like, all right, I love doing this now, but eventually it's like, all right, cool. I did my touring. When I'm in my 50s, like I want to go hang out and I want to be like, all right, well, we're going to go play this festival in Germany.
Yeah.
We're going to go play this festival in LA. We're going to go do 4 days, or say 4 shows over the course of a week and a half.
Yeah.
And have fun.
I think like the Incendiary model.
Yeah.
These guys are geniuses.
Yes.
Fucking dialed it in. I don't know any of them, but I just saw some interviews with the singer Brendan on the Hard Lore podcast, and he was like,
Great podcast.
Great podcast. That was a great episode. And they were
Of
just
course.
like, he was like, I have a family, I have to take care of them, but I also want to play shows. But like, we spent our early years grinding. But like, at a certain point, we all have careers. It's an easy way to like, and you make it a spectacle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get a bunch of bands together. You go out. You play some fun shows with friends. You get all your friends and family together. You play some gigs, and then you get to go home and relax.
Yeah.
And totally. I understand now that I get older, or that I'm getting older, I understand the allure to that. I understand why people decide to do that.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Totally.
I mean, we just did the Headbangers Boat, which it was like 3 or 4 bands that are like that.
Yeah.
I mean, God Forbid came back to play shows. Shadows Fall came back to play shows. So you have all these bands that, are now on their way to say, all right, cool. Like, I'm going to go hang out, play some gigs, done and done.
On a boat, just chilling.
Dude, listen, it's one of the coolest things. Like,
that rocks.
The cruise scene is kind of crazy. And the people that go on cruises is nuts. Like, if you've never done it.
I've never done that, no.
You got to find, they do cruises you'll go out for 5 days. And then when you're off the boat, that same day, another cruise is getting on the boat. So like they'll go out for like 3 months straight, and it'll be like 20 different cruises, 20 different themed cruises. So like I think Dropkick Murphys has one. The one right before, awesome. The one right before us was Bert Kreischer. So it was a complete comedy cruise.
Oh wow!
So it's same boat, and they set up the boat so that it's ready for bands and ready for entertainment. Yeah. So they'll have these stages on this boat. It's called the Norwegian Pearl. And different cruise lines do different cruises and whatnot. But this boat in particular, it's like 15 or 20 different themed cruises.
It's insane.
It's wild.
Yeah, like Bert Kreischer goes to like the wrong stage and he's a bunch of like 5150s behind him.
Oh my God. Well, no. So like the whole, like that week that he's on the boat, every stage is comedians.
Yeah.
So like, he would walk into a room and be like, why is there so much? And they're like, that's for the next cruise.
It's for the next cruise. Yeah.
That's for that. But,
good backline.
I mean, it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. I think we had 5153s.
Yeah.
And, because we flew in from Europe to do that.
Okay.
And we flew back from Europe, got on the boat. We had all of our gear. But for us, like personally, we were using the Quad Cortex stuff. We've been using the quad stuff for a while.
Nice. Instead of the 5153s.
Yeah, we still use 5150. We still use all the EVH like models and like profiles. But for touring stuff, 9 times out of 10, we're using quads.
Nice.
When we go to Asia, we're going to have to use heads and cabs and stuff like that because we're flying different places. But,
are there still cabs on stage for you guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, well, not with the quads.
Oh,
So
okay.
in the
Oh.
States, when we do like headline gigs,
Yeah.
it's just lights. It's lights all the way across the front.
Sick.
And I'll tell you why. When you're playing small stages, it looks sick. When you're playing a 60-foot stage and you have 2 half stacks and an 8x10,
Yeah.
bro, it looks awful.
Yeah.
You know, and like I'm looking at videos of us playing. I kid you not. We were in Europe last April with Die Hard is Murder doing 7 shows, 8 shows for Empiricon, whatever. We played 1 show in Leipzig, and it was 2 festival-sized stages.
Gigantic. Just fucking massive.
We played with 2 half stacks and an 810, and they had 4 lighting carts. They had, and I'm talking massive lighting carts.
That's really funny. I've never thought about that. Like, oh, why not do the cabinets? Because it looks fucking stupid. Because you're playing a big stage. That's awesome.
Yes.
Fucking love it.
I mean, so we were just talking about Gary Holt, who was on the last episode.
Yeah.
When they came out and we were on tour together, they were like, hey, can we share a light package? We're like, totally cool. We are not doing cabs. They're like, all right, cool. We are doing cabs every night. Yo, when we had the actual length of the stage for it, it would be lighting cart, 2 full stacks, a lighting cart, drum riser, lighting cart, 2 full stacks, lighting cart, bass cab on the outside.
Love it.
So you're talking 4 full stacks.
Yeah.
2 on each side of the stage, plus lighting carts. It looked amazing.
Yeah.
It looked amazing. But I'll say this, we don't run a crew.
You guys are still
DIY till we die, baby.
Fucking love it.
You know, we have lights, sound, TM, and merch.
Yeah, but that's reasonable.
No techs.
Yeah.
You know, we're getting to the point where we need that. But, you know, right now, especially for like the Exodus run that we just did, you know, we were like, hey, let's just go in one of the last tours that we'll just do it ourselves.
Yeah.
So it was very nice not having cabs on stage because we just didn't have to put them
just
into the
one
trailer.
less thing to do, yeah.
Don't
That's
have
awesome.
to deal with it.
Yeah.
Don't have to deal with heads. Don't have to deal with cabs. You know, we would occasionally do a 212 on each side of the stage for me and Pat, and then a 410 on each side of the stage for just to feel a little bit in your feet. But you know, quads are sick.
Yeah, I have to. I mean, hopefully one day I would get to that point where I'm gonna have to. It would be nice one day if my band blows up enough from like I have to stop touting the JSAM 800 and be like, no, I have to use a quad.
so here's my thing. Have you dove into the quads at all?
I don't. The more and we could get more into gear and how we each roll. I prefer heads. I'm like
I do too.
I'm eating potatoes as far as it goes. I play like an 87 50 watt 800.
That's awesome.
And the most digital I go is the HX effects of Line 6.
Yep.
Which is sick because like for years I was doing like the pedal train grande.
Yeah.
With like the fucking road case and like 2 Voodoo Labs mounted underneath powering like 20 pedals. And I was like, at one point I was like, this sucks. I was like, I'm tap dancing too much.
Yeah.
Patch cables are breaking. Let me cut down on at least like 5 pedals.
By the way, shout out to Nick Lee because Nick Lee also
it was me and him.
You guys like
the tour
when it came to pedal boards.
The tour that Husbandry and Moontooth did, we both had pedal train grandes. Dude. And both of us are like little dudes, so it was like dudes with gigantic pedal boards, like wheeling these fucking things.
It's crazy
up the ramp.
I could never be me.
Yeah.
When I went analog, it was a tuner, an overdrive, a noise suppressor, and then for my wet effects in the back, it would be another noise suppressor, like a noise gate.
Yeah.
And then like one pedal for wet effects.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
That's it. So I would use a pedal train. It would be a Nano Plus, fits 5 pedals, and those fit inside my Enki case. I could fly with them just like that.
Yeah. I think I could get away now. Like if I had to fly, I would just do like 2 overdrives and an HX effects, like maybe a wah.
Yeah.
But like I could shrink it down. But like the HX effects is like that's my digital experience and preference. Like a little bit of like the delays and pitch shifting stuff, but keeping the overdrives and the amp analog.
Yeah.
Tubes and all that kind of stuff.
Of course.
Which is sick.
I mean,
that's how I usually roll. But yeah, so I haven't run into like I haven't fucked with like a quad or even like my friends who run the main Helix unit for their amps. I never really gave it a shot, but I see bands do it all the time and it sounds sick.
You know, the quad thing, it's more so out of necessity, and it's ease easy use is just through the roof. We didn't want to go through Kempers and stuff like that because the user interface is not what we needed. We needed something a little bit easier, and with the quads, the fact that it's very drag and drop, it's very simple to use. We were like, this is a no-brainer for us. The fact that we aren't running a crew, the fact that we're setting up our own stuff every day, we needed the consistency. One thing, when you're using in-ears, using your microphone is not going to be set up on the exact same spot every single day. On top of that, sometimes depending on if your sound guy is running the same microphones, if you bring a sound guy with you and he has a mic pack, cool.
Yeah, great.
But if we go to, somewhere overseas and we're using a different sound guy and he has different microphones and all that stuff, it's just a nightmare.
Yeah.
So with the consistency with the in-ears, the fact that we're able to just have the same sound every day, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I don't have to wonder if my if my stuff is going to work. And it took us a long time to get away from it because how it is. If you're a tube guy or tube amp girl, trust me.
If you're a tube amp person, you're a fucking big baby about it forever.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and I got a lot of friends that they'll never go. And don't get me wrong, I understand it. I get it. I'm just at the point now where I just can't do it.
I think it's just economics. It's just the economics of the times we live in. It's like, I just saw Converge. They played Starlands with Botch.
Yeah.
Converge, like the amp band of all amp bands, right? Kurt Ballou.
Yeah.
They're using quilters.
Yeah.
And it sounded great.
The quilters are awesome.
They look sick.
They sound good. They're like this
little
big.
Class D guys.
Very tiny.
Yeah. I've never tried one, but like even Caven too. Last time I saw Caven, they did 2 or 3 nights at Vitus. And like I'm used to seeing Steve Brodsky with like the Model T.
Yes.
And I'm like waiting for it. I'm like I'm up close. I'm like, where's the Model T, bro?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Will just got one.
There's a little quilter. But like it also comes down to like in the case of like Converge or Caven, like are songs good? If your songs are there,
yes.
Who fucking cares what the head is, I guess.
Yes.
Maybe I'm being a little talking back on myself a little bit there, right? Because it's like the gear.
Well,
but like also number one in all
preference.
Of this. For your songs, you got tracks.
Yes.
If you have tracks,
yeah,
use whatever head you want. Use the quilter, use the quad.
It doesn't matter.
Use EVH, whatever.
And also, I will say this, like, just like heads, just like guitars or pickups or anything like that, it all comes down to preference.
Yeah.
If you are comfortable playing on something because it, saves you a little bit of time or it saves you a little bit of effort or, even with, thinking about guitars, it's like, all right, well, I play actives. Somebody else might play, I play passives. Somebody else might swear by actives. It's all personal preference.
It's all personal preference. It's whatever gets its tools. It's whatever lets you work on your bike the easiest or like get your ideas across. It's like the thing. It's like when I have to explain to like just like someone who isn't like as well versed in gear or something. Like, why would I get this instead of that? Yeah. Well, one, sorry to say, but you have to like spend a lot of years like trying X, Y, and Z before you find out what works for you. And then and then afterwards, it's like, do I have all the things in my toolbox that I want to like try to make some shit happen? Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And, for years, I was a Mesa guy. I mean, I'm still a Mesa guy.
Yeah.
I love 2-channel dual rectifiers, in my eyes, will always be the best head of all time.
Yeah.
But that's personal preference.
Yeah.
Somebody might turn around and be like, no, it's the 5150 or the SLO 100, or somebody might be, it's a, it's a JMP, it's this or that. And
it's whatever you need to get.
It's whatever you like.
It's whatever you like. It's whatever you want.
Exactly.
Need is a strong term in gear. But
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I think I might need some certain stuff, but
yeah. Right. If you have a Mesa, but you're writing a country record, well, you need a Fender Champ.
Yes.
Or something like
exactly.
that.
You need something that gets you that sound. Certain stuff can't just happen out of certain heads, which is fine. But that's the one cool thing about the quad stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I want Tony Iommi's sound from 1976.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, got
There
it.
you go. Yeah.
So somebody, what is it? Somebody profiled an old Laney from the '60s. It's like, oh, I want to play through that head.
Yeah.
Boom,
Those
got
are cool.
it.
Yeah.
I was looking up those super groups for a little bit because I just went on a little Tony Iommi kick.
A
and I
Laney
was like,
kick. Yeah. They always have a good couple years ago. They had a really good they did like an Iommi amp at NAMM, and we were all just like, fuck.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah. It's so cool.
Yeah.
And that's the coolest part about gear is that, yes, there's certain things you need out of necessity.
Yeah.
But it's just cool stuff. You just want more cool stuff.
Yeah.
You just want the cool. And sometimes you want the coolest stuff.
Yeah.
But there's one thing that I learned, even as a guitar player, you got to say, all right, well, I'm never going to be the best guitarist in the world.
No, definitely
I'm not going to, but I'm never going to be the worst.
Yeah.
I might, think about it, I might not have the coolest gear in the world, but at least my gear is not, one of the posts on like musical instruments racked with existential dread.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're in that Facebook group, but it is.
No, I'm in there's a lot of Instagrams. There's like Guitar of the Day.
Yeah.
Which rocks, which is just like the most fucked of all. I love them. I mean, we all share them at work.
Oh,
like,
dude.
Jesus Christ.
I'll send you, that Facebook link, and it is rough, dude.
Yeah.
I see some stuff on there that I'm like, wow, the stuff that I have, I'm happy. I'm like, and like nowadays, like there's certain stuff that's on my to get list, on my want list, but I'm looking at all the stuff that I have, and I'm like, I kind of just want to fix up everything that I have.
Mm-hmm.
I've amassed so much cool shit over the years.
You've got some cool stuff. You got the Ibanez stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
I keep it pretty straightforward. I've been using the same Dunable Yeti for like 6 years. Everyone's like, that's it? And I'm like, yeah, because it's a great guitar. And
it's awesome.
3 records on it.
And Sasha makes great stuff.
Yeah, it's the best.
Those, when Will first started jamming the Dunable stuff, you were the first person that I ever saw play one live.
Oh, wow, no shit.
Yeah. And, I had been following along with Sasha's stuff from, the band stuff. And, I'm a fan of classic styled guitars used for newer styles of music.
Yeah.
So like a guy using a 60s Jazzmaster for Doom, I'm like, I love this.
It's cool. Works.
I love this. Yeah. So yeah, you were the first person to actually, run and use them.
I think the Zoo was pretty early on adopters of Sasha's shit. Because I remember, the earliest adopters were the guys in Death Heaven. Yes. And I remember being at festivals, just watching them play, and they were playing the Moonflowers. Kerry McCoy was playing the Moonflowers, double cut, kind of like the Yamaha SG carved top. And we're like, what the fuck are those guitars? And Sasha's a genius because the most notable thing on those were the gigantic volume knobs.
Huge knobs.
And so you'd be like, what is that? And so I was looking it up. I'm like, oh, it's the guy from Intronaut. Intronaut is lit.
Yes.
And so I was emailing Sasha maybe 2015, I think. And I was like, hey man, I work at the Music Zoo on Long Island. I love your guitars. I'd love to start ordering some. And so the Zoo, I started to spec most of them, just let's do a spalt top Yarn Hawk or something like that. That was the first one that ever came in. It was an oil finish Yarn Hawk, which was their a flat top SG kind of looking thing.
Yep, I do remember
sick
that.
Spalt top. It's sitting in a bunker somewhere. I wish I bought that one.
That's awesome.
But yeah, we've sold 50 or 60 of those guitars so far.
Yeah.
We have a couple more in order. I just did you come to the Gold Coast Guitar Show a couple years ago?
I didn't. We were talking about that, how there should be another guitar show in the area, but nobody's done it.
Yeah, I'm mentally scarred from that one because it was a lot of work.
Yes, I can imagine.
Sasha flew in with 5 or 6 guitars to display, and he had what I ended up buying was my Gold Burst Yeti.
Yeah,
that was the one. I played it. I was like, I don't know. How do you pick your electric guitars? Do you plug them in?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, okay. So everything's on looks for me.
Yeah.
Everything's by looks. Because for me, I can change anything else. I can just change.
Yeah.
You know, there's certain stuff that you get that, you know, doesn't play as well as other stuff. But I've been very lucky with Ibanez where, like, everything that they've sent me, the only things that I've disliked were easily fixed.
Remedied, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm more impulse. So, like, I've worked at Music Zoo since I was, like, 21, 34 now. I've played a lot of fucking guitars.
That's a lot of guitars, dude.
And I don't really plug in electrics. I'm just like, if it has humbuckers, I could always change the humbuckers. But if I hit an open E major and like the thing rings out and I'm feeling it and the whole thing is like vibrating, I'm like, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah,
lit.
Of course.
And that was my guitar, the Yeti. I was like, I plugged it, just played like 2 chords. I was like, yeah, this is cool.
Yeah.
Buy it. And then it's just like stuck with me since, which I think is kind of fun. Like, it's rare these days to have like a guitar player just play the same shit over and over. Like you've had your LA custom shop for a while.
Yeah, I mean, you know, for me, like, I went through a period with Ibanez where, like, I was getting stuff left and right.
Yeah.
But then I went through a period where I didn't really get anything for a couple years because there was not really much I was interested in.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I'm very easy with my specs, but if something's there that I'm not really into, I'm like, nah, like, I'm not going to ask for something that I don't really want to play, you know, just to ask for something, you know. So, you know, I got a couple LA refinishes done, which was awesome. And then like I got those in 2018. Then like 2019, 2020, and 2021, because 1, we weren't touring, 2 was COVID, 3,
right.
You know, I mean, 2019, I asked for 1 guitar, and then 20 and 21, I didn't ask for anything. And then once we were going back out on tour for 22, I was like, hey, I need these 3 guitars because this is what I'm using them for. And obviously they were like, hey, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I got my first legit full LA custom build. And that one's special to me.
Yeah.
You know,
and it's
I'll break that.
Yeah.
I'll break that out after this. I'll show it to you.
Yeah. And that's like the cool part of like when you stick with one guitar for a long time, it becomes part of you. It starts to show like your playing style and stuff. It's
of
like,
course,
my main gripe with like a lot of people who comment online of like relic guitars who are like, I like relic guitars. I think they're cool.
I think they look sick.
I think they're great. The analogy of like, oh, it's like buying a jeans with holes in them. It's not really, that doesn't really cut it for me.
Yeah.
But like people who are like, when someone goes, I've got a 2005 American Standard, I'm going to play it till it looks like that. I'm just like, bro, now we're talking about science and like, you're talking about aging a polyurethane guitar. It's not going to look like that
exactly.
in 2 billion years. That shit is a Twinkie.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
You're not, it's just not,
you
know, today's technology is not what it was 50 years ago. You know, like it's way different. Like they're making guitars, those finishes are going to last forever. You know, like, I mean, you can look over in that corner. That's a 1984 Washburn Tour 24, right?
Yeah.
That thing's made in Japan. That thing is almost 40 years, or it is 40 years old. And there's nothing happening to it.
It's clean as hell.
Because it's a poly finish. It's not a nitro finish.
Yeah.
You know, so
I think that also goes to, I guess, those are 2 different points I was making, right? Where it's like playing one guitar for a lot of your career is sick because it'll get that way. I mean, you could do that. You could do that with an American Standard too, for sure. It's just gonna, like, it's gonna wear differently than like,
of course,
a nitro guitar. I guess it's just like the lore of like internet guitar commenters.
Yeah, well, the one, you know, you guys have to deal with, you know, because you're selling all these different types of guitars.
Yeah, totally.
You're not just selling, you know, it's not like you're going into your store and just selling Strats. You sell a lot of them, but you're also selling this, that, you know, and 30 other different styles.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so you have to deal with all angles of, you know, the depths of the internet.
Yeah. Yeah, we sell a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Sure, we have like specialties like,
of course,
the Jacksons and Charbels and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
And those people are very particular too. Jackson, you know, Charbel people are very particular.
Yeah, it's funny because, like, yes, don't get me wrong, you're waiting, you know, upwards of 2-3 years for guitar.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes. And I understand that you're spending a lot of money on those guitars.
Oh, yeah.
But like, there's certain things that people look at that it just happens naturally in wood or something like that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That they're like, oh, I don't like how this looks. I'm going to send it back, you know? And you're just like, okay, well, like, what do you want to pick your piece of wood? Like, you know,
You could.
you could, yeah.
You could
like,
pay for it.
Of course. Then you're going to pay, you know, X amount more. Like,
Yeah.
you know, if you're getting a custom shop from PRS or something like that, and you're picking the top and, you know, it's different.
Depends on if you had a dealer go to PRS and like,
of course,
if you were building a private stock, you would have to go through a dealer. I don't think the average consumer can go.
Well, no,
to PRS
of course,
would, but yeah,
but you know what I mean. Like if you know say if you guys turn around and you're like, hey, we got this customer, is very particular. He buys a lot of stuff. We want to take care of him. Then that's way different.
Yeah,
you know,
you get a couple shots of different like slab boards and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. You know, but to turn around and be like, well, I don't like how loose the flame is or tight the flame is, so I just don't want this anymore, and just, you know, waste 4 years.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I mean,
yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, yeah, I guess you guys could sell it again to somebody else.
It was years ago, someone ordered the custom shop ESP, the F model. You know, the F that had like the
literally my least favorite guitar shape.
It's weird. It's not my least favorite, but it's not my favorite for sure.
Oh, it is.
Like, someone ordered it with like this, like, honestly kind of sick, like iridescent, like fly green, purple, like that, like flip flop color.
Yeah.
But his band name was inlaid on the fucking 12th fret. And by the time it came in, he was like, I'm not even in that band anymore. And we were like, that sounds like a you problem.
Oh, no, dude.
But I think for the sake of customer service, luckily, it wasn't a name. It was like a symbol.
Yeah.
That you could kind of pass off as like it's like some art or like a different logo.
Yeah.
We sold it or bit the bullet, whatever. But
yeah, but still, that's lucky.
It's like word to the wise. It's like getting your partner's name tattooed on you. It's like, you order a guitar with your logo on it. You better be in like Iron Maiden or Judas Priest or something that's gonna last for a long time.
You know, say for example, I mean, with me doing leather work, I do the same thing. Like if somebody wants something so wildly specific to them, like
no backsies, bro.
Seriously, like it is. Hey, you're paying me. I'm making this. You're getting it, whether you want it or not. You're getting it, and you're taking it. You know, And I've had some situations where like, you know, people have been like, you know, I paid you, but I just don't want the piece anymore. So like, you could just sell it to somebody else, like, you know, and they take the loss on, you know, however much it is. But I mean, it's whatever. I'll make it. You know, I got paid for it, and if I could get paid twice for it, then whatever. You know.
Yeah, that's true.
But at the same time, man, you know, and especially if you're gonna try and resell it, like, don't put anything wild on it. You know, signature guitars are a little bit different, but signature guitars also do sell way better when they're not like emblazoned with a band logo. Yeah. You know, sometimes you want to do it just to do it, but then you realize you're like, oh, I could sell 3 times as much without that.
Yeah. Like the Jim Root signature Fenders.
It's perfect.
It's perfect guitar.
It's perfect.
I love them. But like, how many less might have gone if it had like the Slipknot logo on the headstock?
Of course.
I think it wouldn't have flown because like
that Tour 24 is going to him.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I'm bringing it down to him in Daytona.
Yeah. Nice. Like we gave one away as a contest, and the guy who won it played like he did a video did like country or something. We were like, what the shit. It's cool.
Yeah. I think it might have been Brad Paisley that was playing one in like a Nationwide commercial. Like a Nationwide insurance commercial. Yeah, it was like it was one of those things like where they're in the studio and like he's just playing the guitar. But it's cool because it is such a widely used guitar because the specs are just simple.
Yeah.
You know, you're not putting wild shit on the fretboard to the point where like somebody looks at it and they're like, what the fuck? You know? and or even a graphic on the guitar. Sometimes people just want. I mean, dude,
A tasteful signature.
a black and white guitar, you can't go wrong with it.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, even there's certain people with every company that make some certain shit, and I'm like, I don't know how that's
just like
gonna do.
It's just like a caveat to everyone out there. It's like if you're gonna order a custom shop guitar, I support you because I sell custom shop guitars for a living.
Yes,
but it's like you should make sure it's what you want, and have like a little bit of. If you're ordering a quill top or a flame top, it's gonna be some variance to it. Like you could specify for sure. You know, it's commit.
Yes.
Yeah, and then it's hard too. It's like. When it comes time to selling it, it's never going to be easy because it's your spec.
Yes.
It's your build. You have to find someone else who has that taste and gets down with it too.
Yeah. And, it, you know, luckily for you guys, you know, I mean, you guys do an amazing job at speccing out
Thank you.
Custom shops. I mean, dude, I dream of having the amount of money that I could spend on, like, dude, every time you break out like some random custom shop, I'm like, oh, I'm like, I want this.
Me too.
Know? And, you know, it's cool because, you know, you being a guitarist, it's got to be so rad to just say, all right, well, I get to sit down and make a full custom shop guitar. Yeah. I see this, like, I go through the process, see it come to fruition, and then I get to play the product. Yes, it's going to go to someone else. But at the end of the day, you get to see that product come to life.
Yeah, it's cool as fuck. Yeah. Like the first time we went to PRS and did private stock, like, we had some ideas. And like, I think the second or third time I kind of like was one of the leads on like all the builds. And like me and another guy, we did like 4 builds each or something. We all had like our concepts and stuff. I did more modern, he did more vintage, but like so sick to like, this is the neck. They let you pick the headstock overlay.
That's crazy.
And they're just like, okay, cool. Now I'm just going to wait 8 months. And then finally the day comes and I'm like rushing to the back of the warehouse. And like everyone's mad at me because I'm opening boxes before I should. But you're like, oh man, it's like a song. It's like, oh, this was in my brain.
Yeah.
And I was on my couch and like I thought of the idea. Now it's on Spotify.
Wait, first off, let's touch on the fact. Did you say it was only 8 months?
PRS, yeah.
That's it?
PRS is not bad sometimes.
That's it?
Yeah. That's not bad.
Oh, man.
Some private stocks, it's not bad.
That's sick.
Yeah.
That is cool, because there's
maybe 9 or 10, but like it's within the year.
That's still a very good turnover for a fully custom, fully custom guitar.
They don't build a ton of private stocks, so it's like it's a smaller market for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like we just came back from like Charvel Jackson and some of that stuff. Like
I saw that video.
We're looking at POs that are dated to like 2027. You're like, whoa, cool. I'll be alive.
Whoa, whoa.
But like, there's not a lot of people building them. There's only so much time and in the day for these people to just build so many guitars.
Well, so that's the thing with Ibanez that is kind of crazy. That there's only 4 people that work at the custom shop.
Yeah,
they're not open to the public. You can only get them if you're an artist or a person of special interest.
Yeah.
Who they deem worthy of getting one. So like it's a cool guys club. Well, I mean, honestly, it's a cool girls club too, because some of those guitars that Nita gets.
Oh yeah, I bet they're awesome,
dude. They're awesome. They're so sick.
Yeah.
I'm a big S series fan, and seeing her jam one of those is wild. But I mean, it's a cool club to be in.
Yeah.
And it's sick.
I wish more of the public had a chance to go see like these like really specialized custom shops.
Oh yeah.
And like when you see comments online of like, I could build this for $500,
dude.
Okay.
Okay.
Sick.
Okay.
Go chop down the tree.
Go
get the CNC.
Yep. Go do it.
You do it by hand.
Yeah.
But like, it's been really inspiring. Like over the years, to like see all these companies in person, like build guitars. Like the first time I went to Martin, I was just like, holy shit! Like the shaping of like, the bracing by hand and like, the purfling and like everyone's like inlaying tops.
Yep.
on like a T45, you're like, oh, that's why this is $9,000, because like
Yes.
someone has spent their entire life, or the majority of their adult working life, getting really fucking good at binding a Martin acoustic guitar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then like the way like the rollers are on the side of the guitar,
Yeah.
that like, you know, it sands it all flat. It's just
Or even like, yeah, just anything like
nuts.
Gibsons, Fenders, Taylors, like any of this stuff. It's like made by hardworking people, like
yeah.
that like have to make a living in
It's
America.
but yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But you know, people forget that it is a legit skilled job.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just some random um it's not just some random job that these people have that, like, you know, okay, yeah, cool, you're making X amount of dollars flipping burgers or doing whatever. These people have worked their entire life to do one thing, and
Yeah.
they are really good at that one thing, you know, so they want to get paid, and I don't blame them.
I don't blame them. I want everyone who makes guitars to have a good life and have health care, and
Yes.
I want everyone to like pay up for it. Do I think some guitars can be more affordable than others? Yeah, for sure. But like, there we are. It's like that's capitalism, baby. It's like,
Yeah, of course.
Is what it is.
Of
whatever.
course. You know, there's definitely certain guitars where I'm just like,
I don't know
$5
about
grand
that.
for that? Like,
Yeah,
come on.
just go buy a used one. Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever.
Exactly. But, you know, there's certain things that like people still aren't hip to, you know, when it comes to guitars for me, I am such a fan of 80s made in Japan stuff.
Oh, it rocks.
Literally the golden age of import guitars, in my opinion. The
Yeah.
80s was just, that was, you know, that was the jam. So for me, you know, there's still some small things that people don't necessarily know
Yeah.
about certain companies and the origins of those companies that make those guitars way cooler.
Oh yeah. I mean, like you could go Ibanez, like my second main guitar that we recorded with, we had the Dunable, but then the B tracks were like an 82 Greco 335.
Yeah, exactly.
Cherry red.
And
It's great guitar.
And it plays great. It sounds great.
Lit.
You know,
It's awesome.
Okay, so like, say for example, right now I'm on a made in Japan Kramer kick.
Okay.
Right. So like, I really want to get a Focus 1000 or a Focus 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the thing: a lot of people don't know those were all made at the ESP factory. They were made.
ESP was doing some wacky stuff.
They were made by
Yeah.
ESP before ESP became like, you know, their own, like, you know, strong force brand. They were doing a lot of stuff for a lot of other people.
ESP is a real weird storied brand. Like we were getting, did you see like at some point we had a lot of 48th Street customs.
Yeah.
And it was just like they're parts guitars, but they're like ESP was shipping next over to New York.
Yes.
And then New York was like kind of like assembling bodies and
Yeah.
blanks and all this kind of shit.
That's how
It's
the
cool.
Maiden USA Kramer stuff was in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like the Kramer American stuff, that was all made in Japan at the ESP factory, shipped to Neptune, New Jersey, and assembled in New Jersey. But it was all, I mean, at that point, it was your better pickups. It was, you know, better craftsmanship when it came to, but at the end of the day, they were painted and finished bodies, and they were finished necks and
Yeah.
fretted the whole nine, being shipped, and they were loaded in the States, you know, and like, you know, obviously the bolts were put in and,
Yeah.
you know, screws were put in.
Yeah. Not those down
But-
reverb, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't
But-
let too many people know though, because then
well, that's the problem.
goes
You know,
up,
you
yeah.
get, you know, yeah, exactly. Like people are like, oh, I can get $9,000 for my, you know,
your
early
sleeper pick becomes
yeah, exactly. It's so stupid.
We're blowing,
you know.
yeah, you blow up your own spot. You're like, oh
yeah.
shit.
Well, I mean, that's like, okay, say for example, you know, people now are charging, you know, $1,200 for an RG7620.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, there's there's thousands of them.
billions. Yeah,
There's
yeah,
so
yeah.
many. Like, your guitar is not special just because it's the guitar that people are like, oh, these are really good. You know, like, it's not, they're a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
You know, so when I see somebody put up a beat up guitar for, you know, $1,200, I'm like, dude, you could just get a new Prestige. You can get a Prestige that came out 3 years ago that is better craftsmanship
Yeah.
than what it was in the 90s. You know,
Yeah. People have weird pricing ideas all the time. And it's
Oh.
like, there's inflation. I don't know. It's
like those little pig nose, you know, things,
Yeah.
you know, those little pig nose amps. People want $1,000 for them.
Yeah, I think people our age still like Like I read the Musician's Friend catalog when I was 13.
Oh yeah.
A Made in Mexico standard Strat was $300. That's great, but it's 2024.
Yeah.
It's not $300 anymore. I'm sorry.
Of course.
And I don't think it could be.
No.
So it's like,
but technology nowadays is so spot on that, like, dude, Mexican Strats are sick.
They're great. Yeah.
Like they're not. It's not like how it used to be, where like you're getting a made in China guitar and it's just the worst stuff ever.
Yeah, they're fine. They're fine if not great. And
yeah, like there's a lot of made in China stuff that's not good, but there's a lot of made in China stuff that is really good.
Yeah. My pick for anyone, everyone's always like, oh, like what do I get as like a first like decent guitar if I want to like pay like $400? I'm like, just get a Squire Classic Vibe.
Of course.
Number one.
Yeah.
It's the best. It's cool.
I haven't played them. I haven't played too many Squires. Squire for me, the extent of me playing Squires is when Squires were built in Japan. Okay, and they were doing the made in Japan stuff back in the 80s. Like I've had 3 or 4 of those because again, made in Japan stuff in the 80s, just 10 out of 10
it rocked, me. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, we could all turn our noses up for Squire for sure.
Of course.
Like, the classic vibe stuff. Like when they do like a double bound telly for like $400, like that's fucking rad. Yeah, like the last guitar I bought was like a year or two. Here's my sleeper pick.
Yeah,
Squire's doing baritone custom tellies.
Really?
So like a double bound baritone telly. How do you say no to that?
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't. I bought one, and I wrote a bunch of songs on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you do the whole like pickup upgrade and all that crap.
Well,
like,
yeah, you get rid of all.
They
were
doing that.
Parts.
We ordered them. I was like, how is no one recognizing how sick this is? That they just did a double bound baritone for less than like $500. So I was like, this rocks. So
that's
there you
funny.
go.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there.
It's just everything out there. It's just so much.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there that for years I was like, why are these going for so cheap? Like I was just saying, the 7620s and 7621s. Dude, I used to buy those 5-6 years ago. I used to buy them for $200 because it was a 7-string that somebody bought back in the 80s or back in the 90s. That I don't play 7 strings anymore. Nobody plays 7. Okay, cool. I'll take it for $200.
Yeah.
But again, now like everybody's getting hip to them.
And sevens, everyone's back on the 7.
Yeah, exactly. And I know in a couple years I'm gonna be like, I'll take that for $400.
Yeah,
$400 is fine. $500 is fine. For a single piece neck with a scarf joint, totally cool. That's all right.
Yeah.
But like, I'm sorry, the new technology, like your 5-piece necks, it's gonna be sturdier.
Yeah, it's stronger.
And on top of that, depending on what wood is used and stuff like that. I mean, dude, all those 90s Ibanez guitars were all basswood. It's not like they were mahogany. It's not like it was, old wood or anything like that. It was just regular basswood.
Basswood, yeah.
Which
everyone poo-poos basswood. All the EVHs are basswood.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It worked for Ed.
Listen.
It's good.
It works.
I don't care.
It works. Exactly. If it works for Eddie, it should work for you. I will say this. I do like, being a thorn in the side for certain people that are sticklers for toned wood.
Yeah. Some of it rings true. I think some of it.
For sure. Listen, if you're putting your guitar through a Blues Junior and that's it, I totally understand it.
Yeah.
But if you're putting it through a Quad Cortex, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just too much gain. It's like, what are we doing here?
Exactly. It's so overly processed.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree.
Come on, man. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
At this point, like with the pickups that you want.
I'll give you like fretboard for feel like rosewood, maple, ebony, all feel different.
Different.
For sure. But like body woods, I think it comes down to like, how's the neck attached?
Of course. That's another big thing that people
how much
look
gain,
over.
What's your scale length and how much gain are you using?
Yeah,
people, at a certain point, some of those are negating the other things, and it's like, who cares?
It's definitely something that people look over is how your neck is attached.
Yeah.
Being a neck through or being a bolt on or set neck, like, a lot of people overlook that as a factor for tone in a guitar.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want something a little bit more spanky, you need a bolt on.
Yeah, for sure.
You need something a little bit brighter. You need a bolt on.
I mean, that's what drew me to the Dunnables, because Sasha was doing 25.5-inch Fender scales.
Yeah.
But set necks.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, cool. I get like that, like set neck, like Les Paul kind of like feel.
The warmth of a set neck.
Yeah. But like when I'm tuning down to like D standard or whatever, it's like, Oh, I can have that extra scale in it to like keep it a little tighter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely am a 25.5 guy across the board.
You have to be, because what do you guys tune to?
Well, so we're either in drop A or drop G.
Jesus Christ.
well,
Yeah.
but we're on 7s, so like that's either standard.
True.
Like it's a drop A with literally E standard,
Yeah.
or a G on the bottom with D standard. So like when you think
I'm
about
trying to,
it,
like, transpose in my head. I'm like,
yeah, exactly. I mean, if I was in drop A on a 6 string, that'd be awful.
Yeah.
But drop G and drop A on a 7 string, 25.5 is not bad. A lot of people, like, I don't mind using a little bit thicker strings because of scale length.
Yeah.
People that love the extended scale stuff, 26.5 or 27 or 29, whatever it may be, they want to use a little bit thinner of a string. But I'm like, I don't mind, having to play a 72 instead of a 68.
Yeah, it's fine.
I don't mind that.
Yeah.
I don't mind that at all.
Tuning, scale lengths and tunings always whack us out. Like the Husbandry, the famous thing with us is like, I tune to drop D standard, so like D all across the board. But our bass player Arnold plays a 5 string in regular E standard, so he's B, A, D, G. Yeah. And like, I think he was in the band for like 2 months before we were like, wait, what are you tuning to?
That's funny.
Oh, what are you tuning? But his ear is so much better than mine that we like very rarely get like stumped. But we'll do like the TU2 battle. Like, what note is that? And we're like, fuck, god damn it, hit the fucking TU2. And we're like, oh, it's G sharp. Yeah. Okay, cool. So we're like,
that's different.
Wiggling around each other.
Yeah. I know it. One thing that threw me for a loop, in Muir back in the day, Jesse would play 7s and Ben would play 6s.
I remember that.
It was the weirdest thing in the world. One guitar player playing a 7, one playing a 6, tuned to the same thing.
Yeah.
But not like...
Yeah, Jesse played 7s and then Ben
Ben played 6s, and then eventually Mike Recon joined, and he played 6s.
You know how many times I've seen him in my life?
Oh, dude.
We probably were at the same shows.
Yeah, 100%.
I would get driven out to the island to go see like Muir shows when I was like 15 or something.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And, I mean, listen, if it works, it works.
Yeah.
There's plenty of bassists that are in bands with guys with 7 strings that are, instead of playing a 5 string, they're playing either a 4 string or a 6 string.
Yeah.
So like, if you want that extended range, if you want, more notes, dude, I totally get it. I think, honestly, I think Jordan intervals was playing a 6 or 7. Oh, not Jordan. What am I talking? You're Jordan. Jacob.
I'm definitely playing 6s, bro.
Yeah, you're playing 6. Jake was playing. I think he was playing a 6-string bass.
Yeah.
Sorry, my brain is all over the place.
Yeah.
But
those first. I'm thinking of like music and like those first Beer records. We force shoot back to that. Like everyone's doing that again.
Oh
like flangers and like heavy distortion are back.
Oh yeah,
it's sick.
Oh yeah,
I fucking love it,
dude. It's so wild. Like I hated wet effects when I was a kid.
Like modulation and shit.
Oh, I hated it. I hated it so much. Like flangers, I thought were like the cheesiest thing in the world.
Yeah.
But it was funny because like all the music that I liked, they were all using flangers.
It was all flanger. Yeah.
It was all flangers.
There's a lot of flanger in New Husbandry.
Oh,
because we're doing it in like the Incubus 2001 kind of way.
Yeah.
Where it's just like power chords, like just like the double fifth like Deftonesy thing, but like flangers all the way. It's coming back.
That's dude. Like I mean, I just went to the city to the Pantera Lamb of God show, and like I mean, dude, Zach Wilde is just a massive flanger guy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, dude, his tone is just like cranked to 11 and just.
I have a very vivid memory, like guitar set. My first amp, besides like the practice amp I had, was a Spider One. We all had to have that. We were all the same age.
Didn't have that.
Really?
I was Crate, and then after Crate, I was Marshall. Nice. Then I was 5150.
So I had a Spider One that I bought from Guitar Center. Carl Place. Yeah. And at one point, it was stuck on insane mode. This is like all my coworkers make fun of me for this. And I actually had the fucking Music Zoo fix it, which I think they probably took it to Scott SG and Douglaston to like redo the board or some shit. God knows I spent $200 to fix a Line 6 Spider One, and 2003.
That's hilarious.
But it was stuck on Insane. But I remember being in Guitar Center and they had the ping pong. It was like the first time I heard effects.
Yeah.
Was like the flanger and like the little ping pong thing. I'm like, this is warping my brain.
You're like, what the fuck is
like,
going on?
What is going on? I need this. I'm like, Dad, please, this amp does this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, dude, the amount of times that I used to torture my dad going to Guitar Center in Comac.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dude.
Brutal. They would just drop me off. They'd be like, we'll see you in like an hour.
Oh,
yeah,
like, seriously. He'd be like, all right. He's like, don't be too long. And I'd be like, all right, cool.
Yeah, I don't know if I was a fucking terror in Guitar Center. If I was, I'm paying for it now, working guitar shops as a professional.
Luckily for you guys aren't like massively open to
to Yeah. We'll see how that might turn around soon. But
yeah,
I'll let you know when that happens.
Yeah. That's. I'll tell you what, man. Like I could never do that.
Yeah. Did you ever work in a GC or any guitar shop?
So I worked in a small shop called South Shore Music.
Okay.
In Massapequa. I took lessons there for like 7-8 years, and then I taught lessons for like 3 years.
Okay.
So it was cool.
Yeah.
But it was easy because like you didn't have a lot of kids coming in just to fuck around. You know, it wasn't like a shop like that. It was mainly a lessons shop.
Yeah.
You know, and then if you needed other random, things, it would be that would be it.
I had the opposite. I was like, so I worked at Music Zoo, but I've always been like an e-com marketing guy. Like, I never worked the floor at the Music Zoo.
Yeah.
But like in my early 20s, I worked at another shop called Ludlow Guitars.
Yeah.
In the Lower East Side on Ludlow Street. And it was like, man, that was cutting your teeth in like music retail. Because it was a small shop. It was like 3 or 4 of us just running it with the street traffic of the Lower East Side.
Yeah.
And it was gnarly. You would learn how to juggle people for sure.
Yeah, it's
and deal with like riffraff and just like insane people.
Yeah, working in New York City has to be an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, it was wild. There was a lot of always like famous people, and I would never recognize who was famous that came in. Jason Momoa. This is my Jason Momoa story.
Oh, dude, let's hear it. By the way,
you watch the show?
He'll never probably listen to this, but that show
it's great.
I
like it.
One of the best shot, and I tell this to everybody.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Listen, I'm a motorcycle guy, and I am obviously a big guitar guy. That show is the best shot show that I've seen in years.
I was just watching the Knife episode last night, but I watched the guitar ones, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
It was funny to watch the Fender one because I just came back from Fender, so I'm seeing guys I talked to you last week on my TV. But it was I was working at Ludlow. God knows, I was probably like 24 and hungover, and I was ever like a Game of Thrones guy.
Yeah.
But he comes in, and there was a lot of riffraff that came in. There was a lot of homeless people, a lot of people just like you would have to like stop from like fucking around. And Jason Momoa came in once. I'm getting embarrassed to tell this story publicly. He like asked me a bunch of questions. Like he pointed to like a printing. He was like, "I have that," and I was like, "Cool, bro." I fucking like cool bro'd him.
You cool guy, Jason Momoa.
And I was like, "That's awesome." And just made small talk and tried to be nice. And then when he left, everyone was like, "Dude, what's his character in Game of Thrones?"
Khal Drogo.
Yeah, I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" They were like, Dude, he's the fucking guy on Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
Dude.
My bad.
Oh, that is fucking hilarious.
But then, like, the guys from Steely Dan would come in, and I would know who they are because I'm a nerd.
Of course, yeah.
In a different way,
Walter Becker walks in here just
He did walk in. Walter Becker was the man.
He
was the king.
Yeah, so Pat, our guitarist Pat, that's his all-time band.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Steely Dan is his all-time band. And, it's funny, man, because, I'll say this. Being in a band and being able to walk into a shop or something like that, and it's cool. It's got to be cool at that level to be like, cool, nobody knows me. Like, I'm going to get treated like a normal person.
Yeah.
Obviously, sometimes, you want that preferential treatment, obviously, once the bill comes, but it's cool to be able to walk into a shop and not have 30 people turn around and be like, oh my God. Like, that's, it's got to be.
There were some people that would come in and you could totally skate under the radar for sure. I mean, Walter Becker, like, who knows him except for like.
Exactly.
Music nerds and like boomers.
Yes.
Honestly.
Yes.
But like, he was the nicest. And like, he would come in with Night Bob, who was like a legend. You know who Night Bob was?
No.
He was like he was their sound guy, but he also did like sound for like Aerosmith in like the
Really?
70s, like just like legendary like rock and roll like Road Dogg.
That's awesome.
So he would come and be like his like gear guy. He'd be like, Walter, you already have 3 of those fucking full tone pedals. Like,
you
don't buy
need,
another one.
Yeah, you don't need them.
And Walter would be like, fuck that, I want a 4th. So he would like go and just like buy a ton of pedals, and we would like shut the shop down for him and like stay late and just hang out. And we were
That's
like,
very cool though.
it's like one of those New York things. We're like, what is my life? I'm just hanging out with like Steely Dan right now. It's
Yeah,
sick.
that's that's the thing.
But he was so nice, and when he died, we were all super bummed. Like
Of
the group
course.
text of like all the old employees were like, fuck.
Yeah. That's one cool thing though, like working in the music industry. And I mean, dude, even in the motorcycle world, like being able to go to a motorcycle event, hang out for a little bit, and then you see like motorcycle royalty just walk by, and he's like, "Oh, I have a couple of those parts," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"I know you do. You made them 40 years ago."
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like and being able to talk with your heroes, per se, no matter what industry it's in, it's a cool feeling.
Yeah.
And deep down inside, that everybody's kind of just a nerd about gear. Guitarists, I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, there's certain guitarists that just they play guitar and they're just good at playing and they don't give a fuck about gear.
Oh yeah, for
Like
sure.
I think don't quote me on this. I think it was Buddy Guy that like, he's used the same amp
Probably.
and has never changed his settings because he's spilled so many drinks on his amp that all of the knobs are just rusted
The rocks.
to that setting.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I changed the settings 50 years ago and that's what I've been using.
Yeah.
That one,
Yeah.
And I mean, same thing like Derek Trucks. Derek Trucks is just like, he's not a gear guy. He just
SG, yeah.
exactly.
He
He plays exactly. He plays
Yeah.
well. He plays. I mean, not well. He plays fucking amazing.
It's unreal, yeah.
But he's not really a gear guy.
Yeah.
He uses one style of amp and that's it. He's not this wild tone chaser. Like Eddie used to be.
Yeah.
Where he's just like I'm gonna let this guitar feed back for 3 days and see if it.
I think I was just reading that somewhere.
Yeah, it was an interview that just came out.
Yeah, who reposted that? But I saw that too, yeah.
But yeah, he's just like, I'll come back, I'll come back later and see if it, see if it works.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, some guys just have that bug in you forever, and it's kind of like,
yeah,
I guess why guys like me and you like keep going and like trying different stuff.
yeah,
It's like, oh, let me try something else.
yeah, and listen, gear will always evolve, but there's certain things about gear that you'll always like. There's always a certain look or a certain style or a certain amount of playability that you're just like, hey, I'm into this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some guys like their action super high. Certain guys like
They're crazy.
dude, Tosin. Well, I love a
Like medium.
low to medium,
Yeah.
right? Tosin, high action guy because he's thumping,
Oh, yeah, I can see
You
that.
know?
Yeah.
and so it's. I remember playing his guitars. When I was in the World We Knew, we were on tour with Born of Osiris, and he was filling in
Oh, yeah, I
for Born of
remember that band,
Osiris
yeah,
for a little bit. And I remember, I mean, he had, some wild looking guitar. And, because back then he was playing some crazy shit. This was before he was, doing the Ibanez stuff. and whatnot.
Right. Yeah, he was doing, it was probably a lot of
And,
boutique builds back then.
Yeah, exactly.
That was like a period where like him and like the Periphery guys would go to Europe and they would bring back like
The wildest shit.
some weird like European luthier shit, built
Yeah.
like Mark or Misha like a fucking 8-string. And you're like, oh,
Yeah.
cool.
And you're like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah. It's like,
And yeah, dude, I remember it was literally like just a slab of wood.
yeah.
It was like this weird shaped thing. And I was like, can I play that? And he's like, yeah, sure. And I played it for like 2 minutes. And I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Because obviously I'm not playing that style,
Yeah.
Like at the time I was playing a USA soloist, So like for me, I'm like, I want low,
Yeah.
fast action.
There's some things that
You
you
know.
pick it up and confound you. You're just like, what the fuck?
Dude, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that like if I ever got my hands on, certain people's custom guitars, I would just look at them and be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
But for them it works.
Yeah, I think we did a Steve Vai clinic and I once, and I moved like the Evo guitar or something.
Yeah.
the neck was super wide. I was like, what? I was like, I can't. It was like was it 6 or 7? I can't remember. But it was like one. I was like, oh shit, I'm holding Steve Vai's guitar.
Yeah.
I should watch my shit.
Yeah.
And 2, I was like, this is otherworldly. Like I can't wield it. It's like holding like someone else's Excalibur or something, or like fucking Thor's hammer.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like I shouldn't hold this. This is your
this is
piece of. This is your power.
Yeah,
you take this,
dude. Some of the stuff that Ibanez has built Steve over the years. I mean, I'll say this, like, you know, that dude, you know, plus obviously, you know, Satriani and like a couple other players.
Yeah,
you know, really put them on the map. You know, for stuff like that. I mean, rightfully so. Like that dude deserves, you know, all of his flowers.
Oh yeah,
you know, but they've built him some wacky shit over the years.
I bet. Yeah,
you know, but the loyalty is, you know, I gotta hand it to that dude.
The loyalty,
the loyalty, you know, the loyalty, like him, Paul Gilbert, same thing.
Him, Paul,
you know,
Joe.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
I mean, dude, I commend them. I mean, dude, it's been 35 years or 37 years since the Gem first came out. It's 87.
Yeah, they just had an anniversary a couple years ago.
Yeah, they did. Well, they did the
30th anniversaries a couple years ago.
30th
with, like,
anniversary,
the original colors.
Yeah,
sold the shit out of those.
Oh, I can imagine. I can imagine. You know, so yeah, there's a lot of stuff that they did back in the 80s that just it was fucking perfect.
Yeah,
you know, he's good, but he's got a lot of cool shit. Like, you know, seeing pictures of his wall of guitars is just like, you could look up, like, you know, Steve Vai's wall of guitars.
I've seen those. Yeah, and there's like
it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy. You know, but it's cool. Like we were talking about the custom shop stuff. Like what's okay? I got a question for you. What's the coolest custom shop you've ever been to?
We were just at Jackson and Charbel for the first time, and Fender too. I don't know if it's like the coolest, because at a certain point, like Guitar Factories all kind of
course,
the same. But I think, I don't know if I have an answer. I've been to PRS. I still haven't been to Gibson. I'm sure I'll go in a couple weeks or a month or two. I think we have a trip plans. They're all inspiring. They're all sick.
Yeah.
They're all just like, one, you're building people's dreams. Like, it's fucking rad. And it's just like, you just get to appreciate the craftsmanship behind all this stuff. So I don't know, the coolest stuff. The coolest stuff we saw at Jackson Charbel that kind of like took me back a little bit were like their manager pulled out like original body templates. So like,
wow,
you saw that video we did. It was like the original like pin router for like a Kelly.
Yeah,
sick.
Yeah,
it's like, oh cool. It's like that this piece of wood has been making guitars on a pin router since like 1980 something.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the historical stuff at the factories always kind of gets me.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Well, I visited Ben Salem for Ibanez. You know, the Ben Salem office has been there for, you know, I want to say, you know, 50 years, 40 years, something like that. And walking, and they had a little area that was just a wall of like all of, you know, the stuff from over the years. You know, literally serial number 1 gem.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just, the stuff on that wall is just crazy. So visiting those companies and, like you said, seeing the historic stuff is just, it's nuts.
Yeah. The PRS private stock room is pretty cool because it's not where you go to pick private stocks at PRS. It's not, you're not in like the factory. It's a side room where there's like slat wall and like just like shelves up with like, oh, here's all the Brazilian rosewood, and you're out there just like pulling out neck blinks of like Brazilian.
It's so sick.
Like doing like the tapping and all the stupid shit. Like, oh yeah, this one sounds good.
You're like, oh, it sounds great.
Yeah. And those are pretty cool because then you start to like, you have like your little spec sheet out, and you're okay. Here's my body blank, and here's like my top, and I'm tracing out a custom 24 on top of it, and like trying to figure out like the best angle to make the flame or quilt kind of pop.
Yeah,
that shit is cool.
It's very fun. Cool.
Yeah,
that stuff is sick. Like, you know, even like the Ernie Ball stuff for me is
Yeah,
like,
I've never been there. I'm sure that I've heard it's a really small but very clean,
yeah,
well organized spot.
You know, I've seen pictures of it, which I mean, you know, obviously I don't play Ernie Ball, so like it's not like they're gonna be like, oh yeah, Tim, come hang it, you know. But it's very cool.
Yeah,
You know, the stuff that they build is just wild. You know, so I'm definitely jealous that, you know, you get to bounce around to all these places and
yeah, it's
get
fun
to see the process. The process is cool.
The process is cool. It makes you learn patience for
Yeah.
sure. You're like, oh, but then there's also like, oh, that's a body that's just been sitting on the floor. It's like, whose guitar is
Dude.
that? And you're like,
Yeah, there's definitely certain stuff, and I'll say this with every custom shop. Sometimes there's stuff that, like, you know, it's being made for a specific person, and then they come in and they look at it, they're like, I don't like this, and then they just have a body sitting over in the corner, and you're like, let me get that
what's
body.
good? Yeah, what's up with that body?
What's up with that body? What's up with that neck?
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
dude. There's certain stuff at the Ibanez custom shop that, like, I've looked at and I'm like,
Who's using it?
I'm like, what's good? What good is that doing?
Yeah.
Sitting up in the corner, on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're never gonna, like. It's not a museum piece. It's not like it's gonna go to. It's. I'm like, give me that.
Let me try it.
You know, let me
Just
just check that thing out real quick.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, dude, there's certain times where, like, a guitar will go to an artist that, you know, they built for some reason, and you know, they had built for, you know, a trade show or something wild like that, and you know, it just works out spec wise for that guitarist.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know,
Yeah.
and
I love a random NAMM piece. They always come in for trades and consignment sometimes. Like, what was this? I don't know. It was on the fucking NAMM floor like 8 years ago, and you're like, oh, I guess all right. Well, let me prove the provenance of that. And I'm like emailing like 8 people.
Yeah.
You remember this? Yeah.
I kind of remember.
Yeah,
that.
I kind of was in the corner on like a pedestal. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you get like a random iPhone photo of, like, you know, oh, it's in the back. Okay, yeah, it's an NAMM piece. Boom, here you go.
Yeah.
$9,000.
The more used pieces you sell, you have to do a lot of sleuth work. You're like, all right, let me detective this one, see where it's been.
I mean, I will say this though: the used market is wild nowadays.
It's crazy, man.
It's wild.
Make Les Paul Studios $600 again,
dude. Seriously, I have a wine red studio from like mid '90s. It's like a '96.
You're in the green on it. When did you buy it?
I bought it or actually, it was my first nice guitar.
You're fucking chilling. Because those are a ton of money now.
Are they really? I think mine's like, I think it's a '96. I got it in like 2001. It was like $9.99.
Yeah, those are pushing like $1,500-$1,600
No
now.
shit.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's funny.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it plays great. You know what I don't like about the studios like that? I don't like the flat frets.
Oh yeah,
Like
those
the trapezoid frets where it's like the top of the fret is like very flat. Like, you know, the Ibanez stuff is a little bit more.
I know what you're talking
curved,
about. Yeah, and they have a feel to them too. Some of the studios.
Yeah, and I'm like, you know, part of me is like, do I want to just say fuck it and get it, you know,
get
refretted to, you know, what I like,
some jumbos or something on it. Yeah,
yeah. And I mean, I know people, like, you know, 8 million people that do fret jobs, but
yeah,
you know, I'm actually sending it. So I have a 71 Les Paul custom that I'll break out in a little bit. I'm sending that over to Brad at Mike and Mike's Guitar Bar.
Oh yeah,
and I'm gonna have them redo the neck because like the headstock's all fucked up.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have them refurbish that. And
nice. That's a good shop. You ever been there? That's a beautiful shop.
I wish.
I went to Seattle once on a trip a couple years ago. I went to there. I think they've grown immensely since then, but it was beautiful. I was like, holy shit.
They got some wild stuff up on their reverb store.
That's where I got my Greco.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Sick. Yeah, they do
there's
a lot of that
zoo,
stuff.
There's a couple zoo people who've called up and bought some stuff from them for sure.
Yeah, they right now they have an ESP Mockingbird.
Oh yeah.
It's an ESP custom shop, one off, like Mockingbird. It's a Mockingbird, but it has some like weird cuts in it.
Yeah.
And
I kind of know where they're getting that
I have
stuff.
it.
We were getting some of the same stuff from some of the similar sources.
Really?
Yeah, Japan's got some wild shit,
dude. Yo,
but the stuff you could get sent over.
Well, yeah,
as well. But they do a really good job like refurbing it and like
Yes.
They have very good product descriptions and all that
I'll
stuff.
be
I
over
like that
there.
shop.
I'll be over in Japan at the end of March,
Nice.
and I'm gonna take a
Do
little
some
visit. I'm gonna take a little
peek. Yeah.
little Ishibashi visit.
Yeah.
Just to peek in, see what they got. You know, the last time I was there, they had some stuff, dude.
I bet. Yeah.
They had some stuff that I was just like, how am I gonna get this back? But it sucked because
you just gotta ship it.
Well, the problem is we were going from there to Australia, then Australia to Europe, and then Europe home. And I was just like, well, I'm not going to carry this guitar the whole way.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, like, I need money for the rest of the trip. And at the time, like, we weren't, it's not like, listen, we're not balling now, but, back then we were definitely not balling. Definitely not balling. I was just like, and, we were like, all right, cool. We're paying for travel, but, make sure you work for the 2 months leading up for tour, The
wackiest shit I did with gear on a tour was we were on that tour with Bluetooth, and I was playing a Mesa Triple Crown.
Yeah.
That I just wasn't getting along with.
The 100 or 50?
The 50.
Yeah.
It was the first version, the 50. Just wasn't getting along with it. And I was like, what do I want? And I was like, I think I just want to try a Marshall. Like, I've never had a JCM, but like all my favorite bands from the 90s, like, just played JCMs. So I went to we were in Nashville, and so I went over to Carter's.
Sick.
So the rest of the band went to like Third Man, and they were like doing some bullshit, like recording like a one of like the direct to 7-inch records.
Yeah.
And they're like, Jordan, you gotta come over. We're gonna make this song. And I was like, no, fuck that. I'm buying an amp.
Yeah. I'm going to Carter's.
And like they picked me up, and I have like a Marshall in my hands. They're like, what about the Mesa? And I was like, I'll just keep it in the van.
Yeah.
And so like I just plopped it on stage that night and played a new amp.
That's awesome.
It was lit. But
That's
I was
sick.
like, but I put it on my credit card. I was like,
yeah,
I'm gonna figure this out when I get home.
yeah. I'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah.
There's definitely been some wild purchases. I'm a big Facebook Marketplace guy.
Yeah.
So,
you can get fucking deals.
Oh, dude, like, there's guitars that I've gotten for like, out in Omaha, Nebraska for like $200.
That's what I was doing on tours. Usually it was like,
oh yeah,
Craigslist or like Facebook Marketplace. Like, what's the goods out here?
Yeah, and then you flip them over for like $1,200.
Yeah,
and you're like, okay, cool. I got some play money for when we hit Vegas.
It's a weird part about living in New York too. It's like all this shit is expensive here. And
it's so expensive, and everybody thinks they have gold.
Yeah,
and it's the same thing in the motorcycle world too.
But the gold is outside the city. It's like you go to like a thrift store too, or like any pawn shop or something, like clothes or whatever,
all the time.
Yeah,
it's
so everyone makes a living in Bushwick. You go get like WWF shirts, from like 1999 in the middle of the country, and then go flip it. On my block
for $300.
Yeah,
dude, it's insane. I got a buddy of mine that the singer of my old band, my buddy Frank, he does that.
Yeah,
and I mean, dude, since he tours, he can go thrifting, and he can go shopping at thrift shops and whatnot. Hits a couple of them, finds old wrestling stuff, old band tees and stuff like that. Like, he's got a client. He's got a set 3 or 4 things that he does, and his clientele like just done. It's just like they're like, yeah, I'll pay $400 for a typo negative shirt.
Yeah,
and it's just like just wild.
I don't get it, but like all the power to you. Like,
but at the same time, those people are looking at us paying $6,000 for a guitar.
Yeah,
and they're like, these guys are fucking idiots.
Yeah,
they're like, it sounds the same.
Yeah,
I'm like, no, the fuck it doesn't.
No, yeah,
you can
do that for anything though, for like watches or clothes or any shit like that. It's like pair of pants.
Yeah,
not really.
Yeah, no, it's and anything you collect.
Yeah,
there's a price on anything. And that price is what people are willing to pay for it.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's not a lot of money. Sometimes it's a ton of money.
The first person that paid $400 for a typo negative shirt fucked it up for everyone else.
Dude, oh my god!
Because that's what everyone's gonna ask for it now.
Of course,
that's how it goes.
I mean, it's the same thing with amps and guitars nowadays. I know that in my ripe age of 35, I will never be able to own a Washburn USA Dime 3.
Yeah.
Never in my life.
Yeah.
Never in my life. Dude, they're going for like 10, 15 grand.
It's crazy.
I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
For a guitar, I'm like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, no way.
Yeah.
And, I would love to own one of those guitars. I'll be buying one of the Korean ones.
Yeah.
I'll buy a 333 and I'll have that in, the corner of my room forever. There's definitely certain stuff that I'm like, I mean, dude, I'll tell you this. That 71 Les Paul Custom, never in my life would I be able to afford that now.
Oh, no, definitely. Yeah.
And, we're lucky enough to where I bought that years ago and now I'm chilling.
I thought I overpaid on my 800, but I looked at Reverb recently. I was like, oh, I'm chilling too.
You're like, I'm good.
I'm not like retiring, but like, I'm not losing money anymore when I sell it, which I'm not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, that 2-channel dual rectifier sitting over there, like, I'll have that for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I'll never get rid of it. I saw some lady. I was actually really bummed out about it. You always see stuff when you don't have the money.
Always.
Always. And some lady in Queens, in Staten Island, had a 2-channel dual rectifier with cab, $1,200.
Ooh.
And I'm like, I hit her up. Of course, me being a dick, I hit her up and I'm like, hey, would you do $800 for just a head?
Yeah.
And she's just like, dude, literally like 5 hours later, it was taken down, relisted for $2,200 for both of them. Which, to be completely honest, $2,200 for the head and cab is still a good deal. Really good.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey man, sometimes it gets that way.
I had a Mesa cab. I think my second cab was a Mesa oversized rectifier that I bought from Jesse and Muir.
Oh no shit.
Yeah.
That's sick.
When I was like 18 or some shit.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was gigantic.
Oh, dude, rocked. They're the best.
The oversized rectifier cab's monster.
That's an oversized straight.
That was the one I had. Yeah,
they're great.
It was great. I'm like 5'6". That shit came up to like my chest.
Dude, they're awesome. Honestly, there's a lot of good cabs out there.
Yeah,
but in my opinion, best of the best was always the Mesa oversized.
Yeah, the tanks. The orange stuff.
With the Mesa V30s.
Yeah.
Their specific vintage 30s, and but I mean now like it's kind of crazy now that I don't have to play on these on heads and cabs and stuff. I'm getting more so into like learning about just speakers and stuff like that. I'm like, maybe I'll tinker with some speakers. Maybe I'll tinker with some, a couple mods with my head. Because it's not purpose built anymore. It's just for fun.
Just for fun, yeah. Fuck around, see what's
when you're purpose built, you're like, I can't touch this fucking thing.
I've had the same cabinet for like 10 years. I'm like, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good.
Yeah. What so you were saying that you're possibly going out to Gibson? Like, what other trips do you have?
Yeah, I'm sure we have to go. Like, we do a lot of the made to measure stuff, so we'll go and like pick some tops for some Les Pauls and shit like that.
Break into the Murphy lab, take a couple things.
Yeah.
Like, dude, that stuff's cool as shit too.
Yeah, I like them. They're cool.
I've going off the relic thing that we were talking about before, like relic stuff. I mean, I think it looks cool.
It's cool. I think there's like some are a little too heavy.
Oh, I agree.
These days, but like,
I agree.
Yeah, it's cool.
Light. I dig a light relic.
Yeah, we just went. So the Fender trip, we asked all the master like, "What's your favorite relic?" And they were like, "Oh, Journeyman relic," because like it's tasteful. One, it's tasteful. Two, I get my job done a lot faster than an Ultimate relic.
Of course.
And three, it was just like it's accurate to like what like a vintage ish Strat or Telly might look like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I'm sure at some point I'll be at Gibson, probably Fender again. At some point, I would like to go.
Yeah,
you kind of have to go and just like make it like part of your like work life to like go out there and see everyone face to face.
Yes,
have meetings and
that's
like,
a big part.
Pick wood and stuff. Like, and you kind of like you can like spec as much shit as you want, but like when you're in like the gigantic wood warehouse and you see like a pile of like some brand new flame maple they got in, like the gears in your head start turning. You're like, oh, that would look sick on that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, that and like we touched on before, it's just got to be cool being able to just walk in a custom shop and say, I can build whatever I want right now.
Yeah.
And having the ability and being given the ability to have that free reign, in your position is pretty rad. Not a lot of people get to do that.
Yeah, it's definitely what a lot of guitar players would call a dream job, which is fun. I feel grateful
That's awesome.
To have to like be part of a team that it's not me that does it by myself.
Yeah.
It's all of us at the zoo,
Yeah.
kind of like pooling ideas together left and right, being like, let's try that, let's do that, which is kind of fun.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of music stores that it's cool that you're able to do some stuff like that, but you know, I feel like, you know, every time you put something out, it's always spot on. Like
Yeah.
you're not putting out. Listen, man, there's a lot of companies that I see putting out stuff that I'm just like, who the fuck is gonna buy that? You know?
Yeah. I think there's a butt for every seat for sure.
Of course.
But I think a lot of us are like players, and we're not road dogs, but we're seasoned enough that we know what we like.
Yeah.
And what's practical and what's not, and like what's a feature that someone might like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I try to do that, and when I'm building some guitars.
More
Like,
single pickup. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, more single pickup everything.
More single pickup.
Exactly.
Everything.
Yeah, the thing that makes everyone so fucking mad.
Now, have you ever, you know, specking out guitars and stuff? Have you ever turned around and went too wild with it, where somebody's been like, "Yo, we can't do this"?
One of my old coworkers would definitely push the envelope and be like,
Yeah.
I don't know about that. There's a lot of like politically there's a lot of like, they try to keep it politically correct there, and not in a way that like I'm saying like put like a middle finger on it. And,
Well,
yeah,
like, no, of course.
Like that's encroaching on someone's like property, like intellectual property.
Of course,
we're gonna not do that.
Yeah, of course,
or something.
Yeah, like you know, making for example, making a Jackson Soloist Loch Ness green with like a pink, you know, inlay, just like an old gem. You're just like, maybe we won't do that.
There's a little, you want to like not cross pollinate too much, or especially like if you're known for doing one thing really well with one brand, you don't want to like overstep into the other. You want to keep that like, oh, these are my Charvels, these are my Jacksons, these are my Fender Masterbuilt Tellys.
Yeah.
But sometimes, you know, throw a humbucker and a telly and
dude, I will say,
put logos on it and shit.
I will say one thing that I would absolutely love to see. I don't know if you guys would have the power to do it. Is bring back those old model series Charvels.
Oh yeah, I remember
like the
those.
custom, like just even as a custom shop. I have an old Model 4 sitting over there.
You kind of chase the wiring with it. Probably they're usually pretty fun with wiring.
So we're just about at an hour and a half. Where can we find you? You
can find me on Instagram, my personal at Jordan Usatch,
cool.
USATCH. My band is Husbandry NY. The Music Zoo.
Yep.
Is
obviously
a shop.
Jordan at the Music Zoo is the one.
Yeah, no, there's no social for that.
No, I know that. I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah, if you ever need your custom shop or any kind of guitar needs, the Music Zoo's always been there. We've been a shop for 30 years.
Hell yeah.
We're all New Yorkers, born and bred.
Oh yeah.
Just slinging guitars worldwide.
That's awesome.
That's about it, yeah.
Fuck yeah.
1 or 2 shows coming up in Brooklyn. Go check out our new single, Drop by Drop. It's on Spotify, YouTube, Tidal, Apple Music, all that kind of stuff.
Yep. I'll link everything to that below. And dude, I appreciate you being here.
Dude, hell yeah. Thank you so much, Tim.
All right, my man. I'll talk to you.
Later.